Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place where urgency no longer exists. There is no clock ticking, no list of unfinished tasks, no pressure to fall asleep quickly. There is only your breathing, slow and steady, and the quiet awareness that for the next while, nothing is required of you. Tonight, we are going to explore a method developed in one of the most high-stress environments on Earth, an environment where sleep is not a luxury, but a necessity for survival. This is the science behind how the military trains the brain and body to fall asleep rapidly, even in loud, uncomfortable, and dangerous conditions. As you listen, there is no need to memorize anything. Simply allow the information to wash over you. Your mind can stay curious while your body begins to rest. To understand why this method works, we need to begin with a simple truth about the human nervous system. Your brain does not fall asleep because you tell it to. It falls asleep when it feels safe. Modern life constantly sends signals of danger to the brain, not physical danger, but cognitive danger. Notifications, artificial lighting, emotional stress, unresolved thoughts, and overstimulation keep the nervous system in a state of alertness. This is known as sympathetic dominance, the fight or flight state. Soldiers face extreme versions of this stress, yet they are trained to switch it off on command. The key is not force, but permission. The military sleep method works by systematically removing signals of threat from the body, allowing the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair system, to take control. Begin by bringing attention to your breathing, but do not change it yet. Simply notice the air entering through your nose, filling your chest, and gently leaving your body. Breathing is the fastest way to communicate with the nervous system. In stressful environments, soldiers are taught to use slow, controlled breathing to signal safety to the brain. When the exhale becomes longer than the inhale, heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and the brain begins to reduce cortisol production. Even now, as you listen, your body may already be responding. The first phase of this method focuses on muscular release. Stress hides in the muscles in ways we are rarely conscious of. The jaw clenches, the shoulders rise, the forehead tightens. These microtensions continuously tell the brain that vigilance is required. In military training, recruits learn to scan the body and consciously release tension, starting from the face. Imagine the muscles of your forehead smoothing out, as if warm water is gently flowing across your skin. Your eyebrows soften. Your eyelids feel heavier, relaxed, and calm. There is no effort in keeping them closed. Your jaw loosens slightly, allowing the tongue to rest comfortably in the bottom of the mouth. This release sends an immediate signal through the trigeminal nerve, informing the brain that danger has passed. Now allow that relaxation to travel downward into the neck and shoulders. The shoulders are one of the most common storage areas for emotional stress. In high-pressure environments, soldiers are trained to drop their shoulders intentionally, breaking the posture of readiness. Let gravity do the work for you. Imagine your shoulders melting downward, away from your ears, becoming heavy and warm. The muscles along the back of your neck soften, releasing the need to hold your head upright. Your head feels supported, stable, and safe. As the body continues to relax, blood flow changes. More oxygen reaches the brain, and neural activity begins to slow. This is not unconsciousness. This is a controlled descent into rest. Allow the relaxation to move through your arms, down through the biceps, the elbows, the forearms, and into the hands. Your fingers may feel slightly warm or tingly as tension releases. This is a sign that your nervous system is shifting into recovery mode. At this stage, the military method introduces a crucial concept: mental neutrality. The brain is not asked to go blank. Instead, it is gently prevented from engaging in emotionally charged imagery. Soldiers are trained to visualize neutral, repetitive, non-threatening scenes. This prevents the amygdala, the brain's fear center, from reactivating stress responses. Imagine yourself lying in a quiet, dark space. There is no sound except perhaps a soft, distant hum, like wind moving far away. The environment is stable. Nothing is approaching you. Nothing is required of you. This mental stillness is not emptiness, but calm predictability. As you rest in this imagined space, notice how your breathing naturally begins to slow. You are not controlling it. Your body knows what to do when it feels safe. The chest rises gently, then falls, with each breath becoming slightly longer and deeper than the last. In military research, this phase is critical. When breathing slows to fewer than 8 breaths per minute, brainwave activity begins to shift from beta waves, associated with thinking and problem solving, into alpha waves, associated with relaxation and early sleep. Allow your attention to drift to your chest and abdomen. With every exhale, imagine releasing the weight of the day. Thoughts may still arise. This is normal. The goal is not to stop them, but to let them pass without engagement. In training, soldiers are taught that thoughts are like background noise on a radio. You hear them, but you do not turn toward them. You remain focused on the sensation of heaviness spreading through your body. Now let this heaviness move into your lower body. The hips relax, releasing stored tension from sitting, standing, and bracing throughout the day. The thighs grow heavy, supported completely by the surface beneath you. The knees soften. The calves loosen. Finally, your feet relax, toes resting naturally without effort. At this point, the entire body is sending a unified message to the brain. There is no need for alertness. The science behind this method lies in conditioning. Repetition trains the brain to associate these physical and mental cues with sleep onset. In the military, this method is practiced repeatedly until it becomes automatic, even under extreme conditions. Over time, the brain learns that relaxation equals safety, and safety equals sleep. For civilians, the effect is often even stronger because the environment is already relatively secure. As you remain here, deeply relaxed, you may notice moments where awareness fades slightly, then returns. This is the threshold state between wakefulness and sleep, known as hypnagogia. It is characterized by drifting thoughts, subtle imagery, and a loss of time perception. The military method does not resist this state. It welcomes it. Sleep is not something you enter forcefully. It is something you allow to happen. If you are still awake, that is perfectly fine. Your body is resting, and rest is already beneficial. If sleep comes, it will do so naturally, without effort. Continue to breathe gently. Continue to let your muscles remain soft and heavy. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. This is the foundation of the military sleep method. And in the next part, we will explore how the brain is trained to block intrusive thoughts and shut down mental chatter completely, even under stress. For now, simply rest here, suspended between awareness and sleep, letting your nervous system do what it was designed to do. As you remain in this deeply relaxed state, it becomes easier to notice how the mind behaves when it is no longer being pushed or resisted. Thoughts may still appear, but they arrive more slowly now, softer around the edges, like distant echoes rather than urgent voices. This is exactly where the second phase of the military sleep method begins, not by fighting the mind, but by gently training it to disengage from stimulation. Soldiers are taught that the mind cannot be forced into silence, but it can be guided into boredom. And boredom is one of the fastest pathways to sleep. The brain is a prediction machine. Its job is to scan for patterns, threats, and unfinished business. At night, when external stimulation drops, the brain often turns inward, replaying conversations, planning the future, or worrying about things that cannot be solved in the moment. This is why simply lying still is often not enough to fall asleep. The military approach recognizes this and uses cognitive redirection rather than suppression. Instead of trying to stop thoughts, The brain is given something neutral and repetitive to focus on, something so uninteresting that it gradually disengages. One of the most effective techniques taught in military training is the use of controlled imagery that contains no emotional charge. Imagine a wide, empty field covered in fresh snow. The sky above is overcast, a soft, uniform gray, with no sun and no shadows. There is no movement in this landscape. No people, no animals, no sound. The temperature is cool but comfortable. As you stand in this field, there is nothing to analyze, nothing to react to. The brain, deprived of stimulation, begins to power down its alert systems. From a neurological perspective, this works because emotionally neutral imagery reduces activity in the limbic system, particularly the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible for threat detection and emotional memory. When it is quiet, the prefrontal cortex, which handles planning and self-talk, also begins to reduce activity. This creates the conditions necessary for sleep onset. As you continue to imagine this calm, empty scene, you may notice that your sense of time begins to blur. Minutes feel shorter. Awareness softens. If an intrusive thought appears, do not react to it. Do not judge it or follow it. Simply return your attention to the neutral scene. In military training, this redirection is practiced repeatedly. Each time the mind wanders, it is gently brought back. Over time, the brain learns that nighttime is not for problem solving. It is for rest. This learning process is known as cognitive conditioning, and it is one of the reasons the method becomes more effective with repetition. As your mind settles, your body continues its descent into deeper relaxation. Heart rate slows further. Muscle tone decreases. The brain begins to increase production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep-wake cycles. Unlike sedatives, melatonin does not knock you out. It signals to the brain that darkness and safety are present. The military method supports this natural process rather than overriding it. Another cognitive tool used in this phase is simple word repetition. If imagery feels difficult, the brain can be occupied by silently repeating a single meaningless word. The word itself does not matter. It should have no emotional or personal association. As you breathe out, repeat the word in your mind. As you breathe in, allow the space between repetitions to stretch. This creates a rhythm that mirrors the slowing pace of the nervous system. Research shows that this kind of mental monotony reduces cortical activity and accelerates the transition into sleep. Notice how your breathing now feels automatic, effortless. You are no longer guiding it. The body is taken over. This is a sign that the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant. Blood flow shifts away from the muscles and toward internal organs involved in repair and digestion. Body temperature begins to drop slightly, another biological signal for sleep. These changes are subtle, but they are powerful. At this stage, many people experience brief, dreamlike images or sensations. You might feel as though you are falling, floating, or gently rocking. These are normal hypnagogic experiences. In military training, recruits are taught not to startle themselves awake when this happens. The key is to remain passive, to let the experience unfold without interference. Sleep is approaching, and the brain is testing whether it is safe to fully disengage. If you find yourself still awake, there is no failure here. Rest itself is deeply restorative. The pressure to fall asleep often keeps people awake. By removing that pressure, by allowing rest to be enough, sleep often arrives unexpectedly. Continue to return to your neutral focus, whether it is the empty field, the repetition of a word, or the sensation of breath moving gently through the body. The military method also emphasizes consistency. The brain thrives on routine. Practicing this same sequence night after night builds a strong association between these cues and sleep. Over time, the onset of relaxation becomes faster. The brain begins to recognize the pattern and responds almost automatically. What once took minutes may take seconds. This is not magic. It is neuroplasticity at work. As you rest here now, you may feel your awareness narrowing, like a spotlight slowly dimming. Sounds fade into the background. The boundaries of your body feel less distinct. This is the natural progression towards sleep. There is nothing you need to do to encourage it. Simply remain present, calm, and passive. In the next part, we will explore how this method works even in noisy or uncomfortable environments, and why the brain can be trained to sleep despite external disturbances. For now, remain here, floating in this quiet space, allowing your mind and body to drift as deeply as they wish, knowing that rest itself is already healing you. As your body rests and your mind remains gently unfocused, we move into the third phase of the military sleep method, the phase that explains why this technique works even in environments that are loud, uncomfortable, or unpredictable. This is the part that often surprises people the most, because it challenges a common belief about sleep, the belief that silence, darkness, and perfect comfort are required. In reality, the brain does not need perfect conditions. It needs predictability and a sense of control. In military settings, soldiers are rarely given ideal sleep environments. They may need to rest near active equipment, unfamiliar surroundings, or ongoing noise. Instead of waiting for quiet, they are trained to redefine what safety feels like. The brain is remarkably adaptable. When it learns that certain internal signals consistently lead to rest, it begins to prioritize those signals over external input. This is known as sensory gating, the brain's ability to filter out irrelevant stimuli. Right now, as you listen, there may be faint sounds around you. A distant hum, a passing noise, or even the sound of your own breathing. Rather than resisting these sounds, allow them to exist without meaning. In neuroscience, meaning is what activates the brain. A sound without meaning is just vibration. When you stop labeling a sound as good or bad, loud or quiet, it loses its power to keep you awake. The military method teaches that resistance increases alertness. Acceptance reduces it. When the brain stops monitoring the environment for change, it begins to disengage. Imagine each sound as something that passes through you without stopping, like wind moving through an open space. There is no need to follow it, no need to interpret it. Your awareness can remain soft and inward. Another important component of this phase is body positioning. Soldiers are trained to find a position that minimizes muscular effort. The goal is not comfort in the traditional sense, but neutrality. When the body is symmetrical and supported, the brain receives fewer signals from proprioceptive nerves, the nerves that report body position. Fewer signals mean less processing, and less processing means faster sleep onset. As you lie here, notice if any part of your body feels like it is holding itself up. Allow that effort to dissolve. Let the surface beneath you do all the work. As the body becomes more still, the brain begins to reduce its scanning behavior. This is measurable in brainwave patterns. Beta waves, associated with alert thinking, continue to fade. Alpha waves dominate and then gradually give way to theta waves, which are associated with deep relaxation and early sleep. This transition is often accompanied by a feeling of heaviness or sinking. Some people describe it as melting into the bed. Others describe it as floating. Both are signs that the brain is letting go of conscious control. In military training, recruits are taught to recognize this transition and not interrupt it. The instinct to check whether you are falling asleep often wakes you up. This happens because self-monitoring reactivates the prefrontal cortex. The solution is simple but subtle. When you notice the sensation of drifting, allow it to continue without comment. There is no need to observe yourself falling asleep. Sleep happens best when it is not watched. This phase also addresses physical discomfort. Small aches or sensations can feel amplified at night. The military method reframes these sensations. Instead of interpreting them as problems that need fixing, they are treated as neutral data. A sensation without judgment does not trigger alertness. If you notice a feeling in your body, acknowledge it briefly, then return attention to your breath or neutral imagery. Over time, the sensation often fades as the brain shifts focus. One of the most powerful aspects of this method is its effect on mental control. People who struggle with sleep often feel trapped by their own minds. The military approach restores a sense of agency, not by forcing sleep, but by controlling the conditions that allow sleep. This sense of control itself reduces anxiety, which is one of the biggest barriers to rest. As you continue resting, you may notice brief moments where you lose track of what was just said. This is a sign that memory encoding is decreasing. The hippocampus, which forms new memories, becomes less active as sleep approaches. This is why words may begin to blur together or feel less important. You do not need to follow every sentence. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the rhythm and tone, which is enough. In this state, the brain also begins to perform maintenance tasks. Neural connections are reorganized. Emotional experiences from the day are processed and softened. This is one of the reasons sleep improves emotional regulation. The military prioritizes sleep because a rested brain is a resilient brain. Decision-making, reaction time, and emotional control all depend on adequate rest. If sleep has not yet arrived, that is still perfectly fine. The body is already benefiting from this state. Even quiet wakefulness with closed eyes and relaxed muscles reduces stress hormones and supports recovery. There is no rush. There is no deadline. Sleep is not something to chase. It is something to allow. As this part comes to a close, your mind and body may be hovering very close to sleep, or they may already be drifting in and out of it. In the next and final part, we will explore how to strengthen this method over time, how repetition rewires the brain, and how to use this technique, not just to fall asleep faster, but to improve sleep quality overall. For now, remain exactly where you are, calm, supported, and safe, allowing rest to deepen in its own time. As your awareness continues to soften, we arrive at the final phase of the military sleep method, the phase that transforms this technique from a one-time experience into a deeply ingrained habit. This part is less about what you do in the moment and more about how the brain learns over time. Sleep, at its core, is a learned biological rhythm. While the body is designed to sleep, the timing, depth, and ease of sleep are shaped by repeated signals. The military method works so reliably because it trains the brain through consistency, not force. Every night you repeat the same sequence, the brain strengthens neural pathways associated with safety and rest. This process is known as synaptic reinforcement. Neurons that fire together wire together. When relaxation, stillness, and mental neutrality are paired repeatedly with bedtime, the brain begins to anticipate sleep earlier and earlier in the process. Eventually, the first few steps alone are enough to trigger drowsiness. This is why experienced practitioners of the method often feel sleepy within seconds of beginning. To understand why this happens, it helps to look at how the brain organizes time. The brain does not read clocks. It reads patterns. Light exposure, body temperature, posture, breathing, and mental activity all act as signals. When these signals occur in a predictable order, the brain recognizes the pattern and prepares the body accordingly. The military sleep method deliberately stacks these signals in a way that strongly favors rest. Slow breathing lowers heart rate. Muscle relaxation reduces proprioceptive input. Neutral imagery quiets emotional centers. Together, they form a powerful message. It is safe to sleep now. As you lie here, your body may already be responding to this learned pattern, even if you have only practiced it a few times. You may feel heavier than before. Your limbs may feel distant or pleasantly numb. These sensations are signs that the brain is reducing sensory awareness. The thalamus, a relay center for sensory information, begins to limit what reaches conscious awareness. This is one of the defining features of sleep onset. The world outside becomes less relevant. The world inside becomes quieter. Another important aspect of this phase is trust. Many people struggle with sleep because they no longer trust their ability to fall asleep. Past nights of insomnia create anticipation and anxiety. The military method rebuilds trust gradually. Each night of rest, even partial rest, becomes evidence that the body still knows how to sleep. Over time, this confidence reduces performance anxiety around bedtime. The less you worry about sleep, the easier sleep becomes. The military also emphasizes flexibility. While routine is important, rigidity can be counterproductive. If sleep does not arrive quickly one night, the method is still followed calmly. There is no judgment, no frustration. This emotional neutrality prevents the formation of negative associations. Sleep remains a neutral, safe experience rather than a battleground. This is a critical distinction. The brain avoids places associated with stress. It returns willingly to places associated with calm. As your breathing remains slow and even, you may notice that the space between breaths feels longer. This pause is not something you are creating. It emerges naturally as carbon dioxide levels stabilize and the respiratory center in the brainstem relaxes. This slower rhythm supports deeper stages of sleep. Heart rate variability increases, which is associated with resilience and recovery. These changes are subtle but profound. In this state, the mind often drifts into fragments of thought or imagery that do not quite make sense. A memory may appear without context. A scene may shift suddenly. This is the mind loosening its grip on linear logic. The brain is transitioning from the structured thinking of wakefulness to the associative thinking of dreams. There is no need to follow these fragments. Allow them to pass like clouds moving across the sky. The military sleep method also improves sleep quality by reducing nighttime awakenings. When the brain associates bedtime with safety and predictability, it is less likely to trigger alertness during the night. If you do wake briefly, the same cues can be used to return to sleep quickly. A slow exhale, a relaxed jaw, a neutral image. The brain recognizes the pattern and resumes rest without resistance. As you remain here, it may feel as though your body is no longer fully present. This sense of fading is normal. The boundaries between thought and sensation blur. You may lose track of where your arms or legs are positioned. This is a sign that the somatosensory cortex is reducing activity. The brain is turning inward. Conscious awareness narrows. Even if sleep has not fully arrived yet, your nervous system is deeply regulated. Cortisol levels are low. Muscles are relaxed. Blood pressure is reduced. This state alone supports immune function, memory consolidation, and emotional balance. Rest does not begin only when you lose consciousness. It begins the moment the body feels safe enough to let go. The power of this method lies in its simplicity. There are no gadgets required, no supplements, no external tools. The body already contains everything needed for sleep. The military method simply removes the obstacles. By quieting the body, calming the breath, and neutralizing the mind, it allows sleep to emerge naturally. As this session continues, there is nothing more you need to learn. Your body is already doing the work. Your mind can drift. Your awareness can fade. Whether you fall asleep now or later does not matter. The process has begun. Each moment of rest strengthens the pattern. Each calm breath reinforces the signal of safety. If you find yourself slipping in and out of awareness, that is perfectly fine. If you remain awake, that is also fine. There is no goal to reach. Sleep will come when it comes. For now, remain exactly as you are, supported, relaxed, and at ease, allowing the quiet intelligence of your nervous system to guide you gently toward rest, deeper and deeper, in its own time. As your mind continues to float between wakefulness and sleep, We now explore how to reinforce the habit of falling asleep quickly using the military method, transforming this technique from a nightly exercise into a lifelong skill. Sleep is a skill, not a passive occurrence. While many people assume sleep simply happens, the truth is that the brain and body require guidance to optimize the transition from alertness to rest. Soldiers understand this instinctively, which is why the method is so effective even under extreme conditions. By practicing deliberately, repetition gradually programs the nervous system to respond automatically to a set of cues, eliminating the struggle that most people experience at night. One of the first principles to understand is the importance of timing. The military emphasizes consistent sleep schedules, even in fluctuating conditions. The human body has an internal clock known as the circadian rhythm. It is influenced by light exposure, body temperature, and daily routines. When sleep occurs at consistent times, the brain anticipates rest and prepares physiological systems in advance. Hormones such as melatonin rise predictably, body temperature dips, and alerting neurotransmitters like cortisol naturally decrease. The military sleep method capitalizes on this predictability, layering learned cues over the body's natural rhythm to accelerate sleep onset. Equally important is the reduction of cognitive stimulation before sleep. Soldiers are trained to limit problem-solving, decision-making, and emotionally charged thoughts in the hour before rest. The military method extends this principle through mental exercises that are deliberately neutral. Imagery is chosen to be emotionally uninteresting and repetitive. Breathing rhythms are controlled but gentle. Body scanning, where attention moves slowly across each muscle group, provides tactile focus without emotional weight. This combination signals to the brain that there is nothing to monitor, nothing to solve, and no danger present. The brain's fight or flight systems can then disengage entirely. As your awareness drifts, notice the subtle interplay between attention and relaxation. When the brain focuses on neutral sensory experiences, such as the sensation of clothing against skin or the slow rise and fall of your chest, the amygdala, which governs emotional alertness, becomes less active. At the same time, the hippocampus, responsible for memory consolidation, remains gently engaged but not overactive, allowing recent experiences to be processed without arousal. This is why sleep following this method is often restorative not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Next, consider the role of repetition in building efficiency. In military training, recruits practice this method nightly, often under conditions that are far from ideal. The brain learns to generalize the cues, applying them even when external conditions are less than perfect. For civilians, this means that once the method is learned, even minor disruptions, a passing car, a neighbor's voice, or background noise, will not prevent sleep. The cues themselves have been strengthened to the point that they override mild environmental distractions. This is sensory gating at work, and it explains why consistent practice is critical to mastery. As the body settles further into relaxation, heart rate and respiratory rhythms stabilize. Parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest state, deepens. Blood pressure decreases, muscle tension is minimal, and metabolic processes adjust to optimize recovery. Even micro-awakenings, which naturally occur during the night, are less likely to disturb the continuity of rest. Soldiers experience this as the difference between shallow, interrupted sleep and a deep, restorative state that maximizes alertness during waking periods. For anyone practicing this method, the principle is identical. Repeated nightly practice trains the brain to recognize when it is safe to disengage, regardless of external factors. In parallel, mental neutrality continues to play a key role. The practice of returning to neutral imagery whenever intrusive thoughts appear is central to the military approach. Thoughts naturally arise, but when the mind is conditioned to return gently to the safe, neutral focus, these distractions gradually lose power. Over time, the brain's threshold for intrusion increases, meaning it takes a much stronger stimulus to disturb sleep. This mechanism underpins why the method is not just about falling asleep quickly, but about achieving high-quality, uninterrupted sleep that supports cognitive function, emotional regulation, and physical health. The final layer of this practice involves integration with daily routines. The military encourages consistent wake times, exposure to natural light in the morning, and brief periods of physical activity during the day. These factors reinforce the circadian rhythm and amplify the effects of the nightly sleep technique. In essence, the military sleep method is not an isolated exercise. It is embedded within a broader lifestyle that respects the natural biological cues for rest and activity. Practicing the method within this framework makes it easier to achieve rapid sleep onset and maintain a stable sleep pattern over the long term. At this point, you may notice a subtle fading of awareness, a gentle transition toward the hypnagogic state. This is the natural bridge between wakefulness and sleep. It is characterized by soft, drifting imagery, fragmented thoughts, and a decreased perception of time. In this state, the nervous system is highly receptive to the learned cues. Muscles are fully relaxed. Breathing is steady and slow. The mind remains quiet, yet aware enough to maintain the gentle focus on imagery, breath, or mental repetition. This delicate balance is precisely what the military method cultivates, allowing the transition into deeper stages of sleep to occur with minimal resistance. The cumulative effect of these practices is profound. By combining body relaxation, breath control, neutral imagery, and cognitive conditioning, the military method accelerates the onset of sleep and improves overall quality. It teaches the brain that rest is safe, predictable, and beneficial. For individuals who have struggled with insomnia, racing thoughts, or inconsistent sleep schedules, this approach provides a reliable framework for achieving restorative rest. Repetition, consistency, and patience are the keys. Each night of practice strengthens the pathways that enable rapid, deep sleep. As you continue to rest here, allow yourself to appreciate the subtle physiological changes occurring. Your heart rate remains steady, your muscles fully relaxed. Your thoughts, if they arise, are gentle, distant, and easily released. Blood flow supports cellular repair, and neurotransmitters balance to promote calm alertness upon waking. Even if your eyes remain closed without full sleep, these restorative processes are already underway. Rest itself is healing, and by maintaining this state consistently, sleep will eventually arrive naturally. Finally, recognize the power of practice and trust. The more frequently the method is employed, the more automatic the process becomes. The body and brain no longer require conscious guidance to transition into sleep. The nervous system anticipates the sequence. The learned cues trigger relaxation automatically, and sleep unfolds as a natural consequence. Soldiers, who often apply this under extreme stress, illustrate the remarkable efficiency of this system. For civilians, the effects can be even more profound due to safer, more predictable environments. The military sleep method is not just a technique. It is a blueprint for retraining the brain and body to embrace rest, consistently, deeply, and without resistance. As this session nears its close, allow yourself to drift further into the comfort of your own stillness. There is no need to force anything. Sleep, when it comes, will be gentle, deep, and fully restorative. Every breath, every muscle release, and every moment of mental neutrality reinforces the pattern, strengthening your ability to fall asleep rapidly night after night. You are safe, supported, and ready for the natural intelligence of your body to guide you into the restorative state you deserve. There is nowhere to go, nothing to achieve, and no pressure, only the quiet, profound relief of allowing yourself to rest fully and completely. Now, in this final part of the military sleep method, we focus on integration, mastery, and the enduring benefits that extend far beyond the night itself. By this stage, your body is deeply relaxed, your mind is calm, and the neural pathways supporting rapid sleep onset are being strengthened with every moment. The key principle now is not effort, but surrender. Surrender to the patterns you have cultivated, to the safety your nervous system recognizes, and to the natural intelligence of your body that knows how to rest. One of the most powerful aspects of this method is its adaptability. Life rarely offers perfect conditions. Noise, discomfort, travel, stress, all of these are inevitable. Yet the military method trains the brain to prioritize internal cues over external disturbances. Neutral imagery, slow breathing, and progressive muscular relaxation have become signals so potent that they override minor interruptions. Your brain learns that these cues are reliable indicators of safety and rest, regardless of the environment. This adaptability is a cornerstone of why the method works so consistently and why it has been used for decades in some of the most demanding situations imaginable. As you lie here, notice the subtle rhythms of your body. The heart beats steadily, not hurriedly. The chest rises and falls gently. Muscles, once tense from the activities of the day, are now loose and heavy, supported entirely by the surface beneath you. The mind may still offer brief flickers of thought, but they are distant and effortless to release. Each exhale carries away residual tension. Each inhale reinforces the calm and the sense of safety. Over time, these moments accumulate into deep, restorative sleep. Sleep is more than a passive state. It is a period of restoration, recalibration, and renewal. The military sleep method enhances these processes by ensuring that sleep begins efficiently and continues with minimal disruption. Hormones are balanced. Immune function is supported. Neural connections are strengthened. Emotional regulation improves. This is not theoretical. Decades of research into sleep physiology confirm that sleep onset and continuity are critical for both mental and physical health. By training the brain to fall asleep rapidly and remain asleep, you are giving yourself an extraordinary advantage in resilience, focus, and well-being. Another remarkable benefit of the method is psychological freedom. Many people lie awake at night feeling trapped by their own thoughts, worrying about productivity, relationships, or uncompleted tasks. The repeated practice of the military sleep method rewires the brain to view bedtime as neutral, safe, and predictable. Worry no longer dominates the evening hours. Anticipation of sleep becomes positive rather than stressful. Over time, this creates a profound shift in the way you relate to rest. It becomes a welcomed, reliable part of your daily routine rather than a source of anxiety. As your awareness continues to fade gently, imagine the mental and physical training of soldiers condensed into this moment. The focus on neutral imagery, the progressive muscular relaxation, the controlled rhythm of the breath, and the deliberate acceptance of rest. All of these elements converge to create a neurological environment in which sleep is not only possible but inevitable. Your body is ready. Your mind is ready. All that remains is for consciousness to release its hold and allow the natural processes of rest to unfold. Even if you remain partially aware as you listen, every microsecond spent in this state contributes to recovery. Parasympathetic dominance continues to support tissue repair and immune function. The brain processes emotional experiences from the day. Stress hormones decrease. Neural pathways supporting calmness, focus, and resilience are reinforced. This is the quiet power of rest. You do not need to force sleep to benefit from it. Simply lying here, calm and receptive, activates the body's natural restorative processes. Finally, understand that this is not a one-time technique. Sleep, like any skill, improves with repetition and consistency. Each night of practice strengthens your ability to fall asleep quickly, maintain deep rest, and awaken refreshed. The more you engage with these cues, neutral imagery, progressive relaxation, and controlled breathing, the more automatic the process becomes. Over time, even in less than ideal conditions, your body will respond reliably. This is the lasting legacy of the military sleep method. Empowerment over your own rest, efficiency in sleep onset, and a profound enhancement of overall well-being. As this session draws to its close, remain in this quiet, restorative state for as long as you wish. There is no rush, no obligation, no expectation. The body and brain know what to do. Each moment of relaxation, each steady breath, each gentle awareness of stillness reinforces the habit of falling asleep quickly and deeply. You are safe. You are supported. You are capable of rest. Allow yourself to drift fully into sleep, carrying with you the confidence and skill to return here night after night, knowing that restorative, healing sleep is always within reach. This is the end of the guided session. You may allow yourself now to drift completely into sleep, knowing that the techniques, the patterns, and the practice you have cultivated are with you always. Rest deeply, breathe gently, and awaken renewed. The journey of calm, efficient, and restorative sleep has begun, and it will continue every night from here onward. Good night.